Hi, I'm Jerry Aliberti, owner of Pro-Accel. In this quick video, we're going to talk about the role of an estimator and how critical that role is for the success of any construction company. So over the past 20 years, I ran over $300 million of my own work out in the field. I've also estimated over $10 billion worth of work. I can't stress enough how important it is to have a skilled estimator or estimators in your company. They also need to be really, really organized. So what does an estimator do? An estimator creates a budget or an estimate for a specific scope of work or a project. What are the key responsibilities? 1, they analyze project specifications and plans. 2, they have to put together really accurate and very well organized takeoffs. What is a takeoff? A takeoff is the process of coming up with the amount of materials you need, the amount of labor you need, and the amount of equipment you need to put together a good budget. Next, you have to calculate the material, labor, and equipment costs. This is where you come up with your crew sizes and your productions. Next is assessing potential risks and contingencies. This comes with a little bit more experience. Having built my own projects out in the field, this came a little bit more natural for someone like me. But if you're in a junior role, this is where really having a good mentor comes into play. And this is why having a second set of eyes look at bids before they're submitted to the owner or the public agency is really important. So what are some of the challenges that estimators face every single day when establishing a good estimate? Now, we all know an estimator only has a couple of weeks to build a job. Meanwhile, the field crew has a couple of months or a couple of years to build that job. So things have to happen really quick inside your head. You're sitting at a desk all day long. You're probably working on 2-3 different bids at a time. Your boss is constantly breathing down your throat, over your shoulder, sorry. It gets really complicated. So to be a good estimator, you really need to be able to identify risks. You need to know the logistics on a project. You need to be able to identify errors in the plans, which can turn into great change orders, right? It's something really important to understand. You need to really understand the subs that are giving you prices and have a good sub selection process prior to the bid. You know, we all know that the cheapest number isn't always the best number. But if you're in the public works side of the business, the low bid is the cheapest bid. So how do you select a sub that's higher? You have to really understand the sub scope to break it down. Also, another thing is unusual site conditions. So these are the different kinds of risks. If you're in a cold climate, how does the cold weather and the cold winter is going to be affecting your schedule? These are all the things that you need to assess in the pre-bid phase. Accuracy and attention to detail are an absolute must to be a really good estimator. Back to the takeoffs. You need to have really good takeoffs. So after you submit a bid, you need to be able to go back to your work 6 months, a year, 2 years later, and really be able to have a way and a process to really understand what your logic was and what you were thinking. So another challenge that estimators face, especially in today's day and age with inflation, is you need to understand how to escalate a project that's far out. A lot of quotes we get these days, especially in the high inflation days, are only good for a couple of months. Escalating and understanding all the contingency costs that go with a good escalated price is really important. Aside from also being a good estimator and being organized, you got to understand that you're also dealing with a lot more lows than highs in your career. It takes really thick skin to be a really good estimator. Constant finger pointing, right? You know, everybody knows this. When you lose a bid, everybody asks you why you're so expensive. When you win a bid, everybody asks you what you forgot. It requires really thick skin to be a really good estimator. And then last but not least, you know, you need to be able to build a multi-year project in your head and within a few weeks. That requires a lot of skill. You really need to pay attention to details. So, in conclusion, a good company will have synergy between field and estimating. Estimating cannot stop as soon as you're a low bid. You got to be a part of the kickoff. You got to do a good presentation for the field crew. The field crew needs to get on board as early as possible. But I also feel that good companies, and this is how I help a lot of companies, is to create synergy between estimating and project management. Even when the project is being executed, estimators need to show ownership in their bids as well, and they need to be a part of that project execution. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm looking forward to your comments.